Majestic sound.
Tell them, Jesus say, you should go and tweet that.
Hey, what up? I'm back. Hey, you know what it is. It's your boy Toby D, and you are now tuned into my Christian audio podcast, Faith Football Fans. Now, some of you may have noticed that have been listening to me for a minute. I've gone back to my original format and how I've been doing things. I was experimenting for quite some time. I thought it was just time to go back to where my roots was and how I started doing this podcast and get back to what was working for me. And that was starting off, of course, with a sample song as my intro from a friend of mine, Majestic Sounds. Go check him out, man. Great Christian hip hop dude. Please go check him out and see what else he's got in store. That Jesus Saves Tell Him song, man, that's one of my favorites by him, man. And he's just a great dude and great musically talented dude as well. But I want to talk about my Falcons, man. Look, I'm not going to go back. You have to excuse me. I haven't been feeling as good vocally. Sickness has been trying to get to me, and I've been fighting it off all week. I've actually been off on a little vacation this week, which actually couldn't have come at a better time to get healthy. Getting ready to go back to work Monday. And so I got to enjoy the Falcons Sunday, whipping up on the number one defense, putting up 38 points, basically destroying that whole team's vibe coming in to this game. You know, they was excited because they normally cause Matt Ryan to have a bad day. And don't get me wrong, they were a few plays away from doing exactly that. But a great penalty call, which might not have been so great on Patrick Peterson, knocking up the ball and tipping it up for his guy to intercept it, only to have a penalty called on him, and they called that back. And then the DJ Swearinger, who had the ball right in his hands while the Falcons were driving, and he drops it, and the Falcons end up scoring. Not to mention the one where they said that on the first drive, when Patrick Peterson, basically they say he committed a foul there, and hey, we scored off of that. But hey, what do those plays have in common? What do you get from that? Well, let me tell you. I'm glad you asked. The Falcons were getting calls. Maybe the refs finally got the memo now after Dan Quinn complained about the last few that he turned in. Example, the Seattle game. We all know what happened there. I'm not going to rehash that. And another example, the San Diego Chargers game, which Dan Quinn sent in on both of those and got positive feedback. That basically those calls were not called. You call those games, guys, we probably would be 9-2 right now. Yes, I'm going to say it. And I know there's a lot of haters out there that don't want to hear that, but we would probably be 9-2. We are a 7-4 team playing in a 9-2 body right now that has not been revealed, only because of poor officiating. And many of you who watched that game last night, with the Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys, one of the gentlemen from the Vikings, Robinson, he was highly upset because of a no call that he felt they should have gotten. But listen, man, you can't be no dink and dunk offense and expect to try to win a game against a hot Dallas Cowboys team. You can't do it. Even though Dallas looked arguably their worst last night, they put out arguably their worst performance. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott as rookies, they still managed to win the game. And that's what good teams do. They win games even though it's ugly. But I can understand because I feel his pain. I don't know if he's going to get fined for that, for calling out the officiating. But it is what it is. It's what's been going on all year. You just have to deal with it and keep it moving. It looks glaring now because the Vikings are 6-6 after starting 5-0. Doesn't that remind you of a team? Yes, our team, the Atlanta Falcons. But what I loved about the Atlanta Falcons going into this game after the bye week, they did not allow last year's past to affect their future. They came out swinging. And you got to be excited about what Dan Quinn is doing here. He is building a team that complements his style of coaching. Now, it just so happens that he didn't win the coin toss and be able to defer the football like he normally likes to do until the second half. But Arizona basically came out and did it for him. Now, could that have been that they were worried about this high-powered offense and they wanted to get it going before this offense of our Falcons comes out there? Probably so. But once again, of course, we saw our defense give up an opening drive again, score. But they settled down like they've done those other 3 times when they did that. And they were doing that quite a bit this year. They've given up opening drive scores and things like that. But you got to give them credit for getting better at settling down when they've done that the last few times that they've done it. This game was an exciting game because we kept our +3 in turnover ratio. Now, that might not be huge to some of you, but when you're going up against a team that we're about to play that has a +14 in the turnover ratio, now that's due mostly to a conservative offense that is not really going to test you deep. They're going to dink and dunk you and try to make you miss in space on tackles, and the Falcons will have to be really up on their game tackling wise against this team because they are going to try to make you miss and get a lot of yards for Alex Smith, a guy that has not tested deep for much 40+ yards. Okay, so, but other than that, it's time to be excited, man. You can't look back at what other teams are doing. The other teams, despite 2 impressive wins by Tampa Bay, they are 6-5. They're behind us. New Orleans, despite a win against the LA Rams, they're fighting, trying to just get to 500. And Carolina continues its woes. They've missed out on winning a few games that they've had very close, that they were managing to win last year. They're unable to do that this season. So, as a Falcons fan, you should be excited. I'm excited. I see the playoff future right in front of us. Now we just have to get there. And if we do, we're going to be a scary team to deal with if we can get in there healthy for the most part. So, listen, that is all I'm going to say right now. I'm excited. You get excited. Please comment, subscribe. Let me know what you're feeling going into our 13th week of the season. Again, it's Faith Football fans. I'm Toby D. Peace. I'm gone.